Hello, and welcome to the Childcare Business Success Show, aired exclusively here in our Childcare Business Success group. I'm Julie Bartkus, workplace transformationalist and best-selling author of Childcare Business Success, and it is an absolute pleasure to spend the next 60 minutes with you talking about childcare business success. Our Chief of Happiness, Loretta, will be interacting with you on the group page in the Childcare Business Success group, and she's going to be trying to chime in on a better internet connection very shortly, so hopefully you'll be hearing from her as well. But I wanted to let you know also that tonight's show is all about mindset and your success mindset. And granted, I might deviate from that topic a little bit, but everything's going to really revolve around having a higher mindset to help you expand your success. And years ago, I started thinking about why I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. I was following a lot of coaches and a lot of mentors and implementing some great ideas, and I still wasn't getting the success I wanted. And part of that success wasn't only in terms of the results that I was seeing with my eyes, it was also how I was feeling. And there was always this feeling that there was something missing, that there was a piece of the puzzle missing for me. And if you feel like that, you're in the right place. And whether you're an owner or a director, mindset is critically important to anything you want to accomplish in your life, personally and professionally. And if you're here, please say hello on my screen. I can only see comments from, so they're still working on where I can actually see your names in my broadcast studio. So please let me know who's saying hello, and I'll gladly give you a shout out. And of course, I'll come back and read the comments after the show, so there I'll be able to see who's saying what. But here in my broadcast mode, I can't see it unless I flip over to the Facebook page. So let me know who's saying hello, where you're from, and please do say hello, because as I always say, I thrive on interaction and your participation. So I would love to hear who's tuning in and where you're tuning in from, as well as any questions you might have as we progress through the show. My goal is to wrap us up tonight by 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. And I know last week in our first episode, we went a little bit over, like 30 minutes, but there was so much good content there. I hope that if you didn't tune into that show, you'll scroll down through our Childcare Business Success page, find that episode, and tune in. Hey, Holly, nice to have you here. Holly is one of my local peeps, and that's a story in itself, how Holly and I came to connect that we'll have to share on a future episode of the Childcare Business Success Show. Great to see you here, Holly. Who else is here? Say hello if you are here. And also, if you tune into the replay, say hello as well. And the cool thing is, if you're here live, you're going to have the opportunity to win some of the yummiest brownies in the planet, on the planet, I should say, because we are going to give away brownies for the person with the most interaction this evening. So, Rocky Mount, Virginia, welcome. Nice to see you here. So who's excited about mindset? That's what we're diving into tonight. And, you know, there are several books that have really influenced me when it comes to mindset: Think and Grow Rich, The Power of Positive Thinking, The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, and so many others. And years ago when I was searching, I was probably in my 20s, my late 20s, and I was searching for solutions. I was going through divorce, just starting my business, and I felt like there was a piece of the puzzle missing. And that's when I started really tapping in to how powerful the thoughts we think are to getting the results that we want in our lives. Not only the results, but also to our body's ability to heal itself, for our inner guidance to speak clearly to us in terms of the solutions that we need to take. It's all related to where is your mindset. And even the millionaires and the billionaires, the people who've accomplished great levels of success in our world, are constantly striving to make their mindset bigger, to make it stronger, to make it more expansive. And I know it's a constant study of mine, where I'm looking at books and I'm diving into things and I'm feeding my minds positive information. But I want you to think for a moment what your results are like when you are thinking negative thoughts. Hello, New Hampshire. Nice to see you here. What are the results that you get in your life when you think negative thoughts? And what are the results that you get in your life when you hang on to negative beliefs? And here's the thing, a lot of times we think about mindset when it comes to money, but it also comes to the managing of your staff. It also comes to what you make happen in your life, whether it's where you live, what kind of car you drive, how you look, how you appear to others, your energy projection onto others, the kind of energy you attract into to yourself and to your childcare program. So mindset really encompasses all different facets of life. And when I talk about mindset, I bring it into our childcare business success model. And if anybody out there has the childcare business success book, you can give me an, oh yeah, I've got that book. But in this book, I think it's page, I don't know what page, I think it's page like 6. Let me see here. It is. There is my childcare business success model. And you'll see that the vision is the core of the model. And the vision is surrounded by different elements that it needs to thrive and to be successful. And the element that's directly outside of vision is your mindset. So often in our programs, we're searching for different things, whether it's people, whether it's more money, something else to make our program more profitable or to make us more successful. When really the answers lie right in the core, which is your vision, surrounded by your mindset. So that's why I want to talk to you tonight about mindset. And I'm going to be introducing you to one of my clients, Mary Wardlaw, who we've been in constant work on mindset. And she wants, I wanted to invite Mary here to share some of what she's went through in working with me and just in her own life with the consistent and constant up-leveling of her mindset. So I hope you'll all help me in welcoming Mary Wardlaw. So I'm going to bring Mary on. And you've probably heard me talk about Mary. Hey, Mary.
Hello.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
And you've probably heard me talk about Mary. Mary is somebody who, when she first signed on with us for our Childcare Program of Excellence mentorship, she was able within 3 weeks to gain 36 new enrollments. Now, how many of you would like those results? And this was all due to really bringing her vision back to life and then surrounding that vision with different mindset strategies and mindset shifts so that she can consistently grow those numbers. And this was like a record number that you were able to accomplish. Do you remember that moment, Mary?
I do remember that moment very well.
Awesome. And Mary is the owner of the Children's Center in Niles, Michigan. And she has also expanded her vision. And she's in our community group. So you could say hello to Mary. You could find her. You could tag her. But she has also established a CDA training company. And what's that? National CDA?
National CDA Training.
National CDA Training. And the website is the same, right? nationalcdatraining.com. Okay, great. So I encourage everybody to check it out. And one of the things that I admire so much about you, Mary, oh, and I forgot to say, do you have your award? Oh my goodness, where's the award? And I forgot to say, Mary was one of our first ever Childcare Program of Excellence Award winners. So everybody in our audience voted in our last Create Your Dream Team Experience event, and Mary won. And then when our Childcare Program of Excellence got together, we were able to personally hand that award to Mary. So congratulations.
Thank you. That was awesome. I love it.
I know. I'm still like, yes, we have an award now. So I'm so excited about that. And like I said, everybody, please be posting your questions, your comments, anything you want to do to help make this interactive. You'll have the opportunity to win some brownies. And Loretta should be in the group networking and encouraging everybody on and answer questions as well. If she's not there right now, she will be very soon. So Mary, our journey started how many years ago? Was it 4 years ago?
I'm going to say 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 years. And I know one of the reasons that you came to me was that you felt like I did so many years ago, where there was just a piece that was missing for you, a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, well, it was more than that. For me, it was actually, I was kind of at the end of any ideas I had. Do you have time for me to go into my story?
Oh, sure, let's do it.
I don't want to use up all your time, but I feel like there are people out there that could really benefit from knowing where I was and where I am now. And so to take you to the beginning of this, I had already had a child care center for 10 years, and I absolutely felt like we were great. You know, we were, you know, doing things really well. It was just going like it should go. But there were some things that were missing that I was just not paying attention to. Julie always talks about you're either growing or you're going down. You can't just stay, you know, where you are on a plateau. And that's where I felt like I was, but I really wasn't. So anyway, one day we had a child that ran out of a classroom and ran out of the building, and they didn't get hurt or anything, but they were out of our sight. And we, of course, had to deal with licensing on that issue because they were gone for probably, well, over a minute for sure out of our sight. Mm-hmm. And so licensing came in. We made it through that. We knew we had to be careful. And so we told everyone, you know, you got to make sure you're watching everyone. And then a couple of months later, I was actually at a dance class with my husband. We were sitting in the car getting ready to go in, and I got a call from my program director, and she said, "You're not going to like this." And just dread overcame me. I knew it was something awful. And she said that a child was left out on the playground, and for approximately 7 minutes, according to the information that I was being given at the time. And I was just really crushed because I knew licensing was going to do something about this. So they came in and they were talking about revoking my license, and it was like the worst moment of my career. And all I could think of is, you know, how did this happen? Everyone's going to think we're awful. I couldn't even face what was happening. And I was in such a bad state of mind that I was just kind of walking around, not even feeling anything, because I was just so devastated by the whole thing. And so I remember, I was thinking about, I just got to walk away. I got to get away from this. I didn't even know how to move forward at that point. And that's a very important piece for me to share, because what unfolded next was just so amazing to me. I was on Facebook and I saw that Julie was going to be doing a conference pretty close to where I live, about an hour and a half away in Chicago. And so I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. And I didn't hold out much hope, but I really felt like it was my last effort to try to salvage anything. And
let's go back to that moment for you. So you were really just feeling like, and you could tell us what the words were. So what words would really describe how you felt? Because there's moments, you know, where we function, we do what we got to do to get through the day. And then there are moments that we have alone. And I call this kind of like our secret quiet thoughts. You know, whether it's in the shower, in the bathroom, before you fall asleep, right when you wake up in the morning, and you start thinking thoughts to yourself. What was going through your mind at this point, and how were you really feeling?
Well, I was feeling like a failure. I was feeling like things were hopeless. I didn't know where to go or what to do. I felt kind of lost. And I don't know. And I couldn't feel any joy in that moment. And I just remember I couldn't even feel any joy with what was going on around me. And I have this amazing family and so many things to be grateful for. But the bad things that were happening in my work life at that point just overshadowed everything. It was like a cloud. I was just overshadowed by a cloud this whole time. And so, I was in a pit. I felt despair, and definitely did not feel any joy with what was, and this went on for weeks. how I felt. Went on for weeks.
You know, in some of these situations is really what starts to crush the vision. Because everybody, when you open up your center, you've got this big vision and you got stars in your eyes. And you're like, look at what we're going to do and achieve. And then when something happens, whether it's with a staff member or with a parent or a situation like you had unfold, Mary, then it's like the vision starts collapsing. It starts getting just compromised. And then you start asking yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I, taking all this pain in? And if you can relate to this, if you're watching this show and can relate to Mary's challenge and how she was feeling, please go ahead and type some comments below. Let us know who's chiming in. I can't see here on my dashboard your name, so just let me know your first name and if you can relate to this. Because a lot of us, I believe, and Mary, you can let me know if you think the same thing is true from talking to other owners and directors about your story, is that we suffer in silence. And we suffer in silence for a really long time. We're feeling the pain. And women especially are really good at this. And it could be a physical ailment. Something happens to your body and you start to hurt and you don't say anything. You brush it off like, oh, well, it'll get better. The same thing is true mentally. Our mindset starts to collapse. We start to feel the pain and we suffer for a long time. So do you feel that describes you, Mary? Were you suffering for a while by yourself?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And a lot of it's just that I didn't feel anybody could possibly understand what I was going through.
Yeah. So you were tuned in enough to say, hey, Julie's doing this workshop. It's not too far. I've got to do what I've got to do to get there. And then beginning to describe the process as magical. So I'll let you take it from, I think that was the word you used.
Yeah, it really was. When I was at the conference, Julie started saying some things that really resonated with me. And a lot of it was around vision. And she said some things. She asked, what are you tolerating? And it really made me think about some things that I knew were not quite right. Well, I do have that staff member who really doesn't pull her weight, but parents like her, and I have that one who doesn't watch the kids quite as well as I think she should, but if I let her go, then we don't have anyone to cover that. There were just all kinds of reasons that I was tolerating what wasn't part of my vision. And then she really made me evaluate what my vision was. And I really had to think deeply, because up to that point, it was kind of superficial, like, excellence in childcare, like what everybody says. And so she really
and I love the vision to provide an educationally, mentally stimulating environment for the young children.
Right. Yeah. Like, who doesn't have that? So I really had to dig deep and figure out, why am I really doing this? What is it that is inspiring me to do what I love to do? And then she said some things like, she said, you have to be more committed to your vision than you are to your people. And that hit me hard, because at that time I had some people that had been with me for 12 years. And I thought, man, that's someone who's so loyal to me. I can't just get rid of her. But at the same time, in my heart, I knew that she was not on board with the vision that I really wanted for the program. So I really had to think about some of those things. And that's what really hooked me in wanting to work with Julie. And it wasn't an overnight thing at that point, but the first time I actually talked with Julie on the phone, it was like night and day. And should I just tell them about that one?
Sure. I hope you're putting some nuggets. Whoops, I'm here. I saw. You hear me echoing?
You're not echoing, but it's a little
fuzzy.
Yeah, a little fuzzy, just a little.
We have some storms moving in, so if I fuzz out a little bit, that might be why. Because now I'm sounding okay, but I was like, okay, what did I do? I'm hearing myself twice. Granted, I like hearing myself, but place. So I hope you've got a pen and paper in hand, because Mary is really revealing some golden nuggets to you as well. And you might relate to her story, but she's also sharing with you some of the strategies that she worked about her tolerations and really working on eliminating those tolerations. Because how many times do we say, we got good staff, and they are like 80% good or 70% good, meaning that one person has 75% good qualities, and we think that's a dreamy team member. When we're really focusing on the fear side of the equation, I always say there's this upside down V model where it's like this, and one side of the model goes to vision and one side goes to fear. Often, even though subconsciously we might not realize it, we're managing our childcare programs by fear, by lack, by scarcity. So when we say, oh, well, they've got, 70% of the qualities that makes them a good staff, well, there's 30% there that's not dreaming. And that 30% that's not dreamy is the 30% that can get you in a lot of trouble, especially, in a minute time frame. That person can make one decision that can mess you up for months. So that's why we really want to get all of our team members to where we're not tolerating, and we are committed and more loyal to that vision, because that's what we want to sell parents on, the vision. We don't want to sell parents on necessarily the staff, but we want parents to know that we hire staff who are going to support that vision at all times. And that's where our dedication and commitment is. Yeah.
So then I got on a call with Julie, and I was telling her how awful the situation was and how horrible it was and how hopeless it was. And she said, well, what if it's not? Like, just what if it's not? And I was like stunned. What are you talking about? What if it's not? And she said, well, what if you don't have to feel like it's horrible? What if you don't have to feel that it's the worst thing that's happening in your life? What if it's not? And it just like flipped a switch in my mind. And she said, what happened doesn't define you. What you are and who you are is what you want to be and who you want to be. And you determine who you are and what you are. And I thought for a minute that's exactly right. I mean, I've been sitting here thinking how awful I am and how terrible of a leader I am and how horrible the situation is. But in that moment, I realized that you can actually control what you feel by controlling your thoughts and just guiding your thoughts in the direction you want them to go. And from that moment on, it was my decision that we were an amazing program and that I didn't tolerate things that weren't amazing. And the vision began to grow and expand. And I remember thinking, we were on a provisional license at that moment. And I remember thinking, I'm going to come out of this, not at the 3-star level I was before, but at a 4-star level. And so I began thinking of my program as a 4-star program. And every time I talked to a family, I was talking to them as if we were a 4-star program, because that's what we were. What was going on and behind the scenes on that paper, whatever, didn't matter, because what I had decided, this was a 4-star program with amazing teachers who wrap their arms around the kids and the families in their care, who are protecting the kids, making sure they're safe, teaching them in amazing ways, but always wrapping our arms around them. And as the vision began to grow, and as I began to continue to focus on that and lead the teachers in that direction and help them to focus on that, we just kept getting more and more amazing and attracting amazing staff. And even there in that provisional status, Julie said, you can enroll as many people as you want. And that's when we did it. We were talking and she said, how many do you need? And I don't know what I said at the time, but 38, is that what we ended up with? I'm feeling like that's what we ended up with. Yeah. Within 3 weeks, we enrolled 38 students. That was when our paper said we were on provisional status, but we were not. We were functioning as a 4-star team. And it was just amazing how the transformation happened so quickly. And within 9 months, we were able to have our licensing person come back out. She looked at everything again. We worked through everything. She moved us to a regular license at that point, and I put all the paperwork together that I needed to. And the next day, we were a 4-star program. So right out of our provisional status into a 4-star status. And that was just like this huge, amazing win for the whole team, because they felt like they earned that 4-star status, which they did. So yeah, that was just, and there have been so many amazing moments like that, but that is just the most huge thing that I can think of to share.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And one of the things that I love what you said is that you made a decision. Even though, and this is what's really, really, really hard for people, is even though you're faced with such a mess in front of you, you made a decision that this is the level you were going to operate on. So was it a big stretch for you? And I call this seeing with your mind's eye. So you have to, when you're up-leveling your mindset, is you've got to really stop seeing with your physical eyes, and you have to start seeing in your mind's eye the result that you want. And I often say, you have to say, yeah. Okay, so old Mary created this mess, or old Julie created this mess. But now I am cleaning up this mess as a new person, as a different person. And the really cool thing about life is that you could decide to be new. You could decide that, hey, I am born and today's my birthday. You could decide that any single day you want. And Mary made a decision, and then she trudged forward and made magic happen. Close to 40 enrollments in 3 weeks, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, that was an amazing thing to see all that happen. And what a boost to the whole team to see that happen, because when you go through a situation like that, it's not just the owner that's hurting. It's everybody who's on the team that's hurting. They're all feeling that pain. They're all feeling that loss. So if you can flip that switch as a person who is leading others, as an owner or as a director or anybody that's leading people below you, then or working with you, I should say, then you're able to lift them up to that point too and help them believe. And I should say this too, that I didn't actually believe I could get that many enrollments in 3 weeks, but Julie said, yes, you can. And she said, if you don't have the belief, then let me have the belief for you. And she did have the belief for me. And I just trusted her and followed the guidance that she was giving me. And it was a really big win for us.
And this is a really important point, and I just got chills from you sharing that. Ooh, I love when that happens. But this is a really important point, is that so often we're surrounded by people who don't believe in us. And they might be good people, and they might love us. But if you looked at somebody, whether it's a friend or a spouse or a mom or whoever it might be, and you said, yeah, I'm going to, fill my program up in 3 weeks, we're going to have 40 kids, they might look at you and go, oh, yeah, good luck with that one. In today's world, with this economy, and, this is only childcare. But it really takes having somebody who can be that rock for you. I firmly believe that with mentors and coaches I've worked with, that if they don't really believe in me, I know it's not a good match. But if I have a relationship with somebody and I really feel that they believe in me and there's this confidence that they're projecting and energetically I could feel it, I know that I'm going to make huge transformations happen. So make sure that you're aligning yourself with the right belief team or the right belief coach who really believes in that thing that you want to accomplish. And it's a super important point, Mary. And I'm glad it made such a difference. And mindset is something that is always expanding and always growing. So to this day, let me ask you, Mary, even though you've accomplished these great successes, turned things around, gone from despair to, really living in more of a dreamy business and a dreamy life, are you still working on your mindset?
Yes. Constantly. I noticed that if I step away from that and just let things kind of slide, and am not really intentional about how I'm framing my thoughts, and really taking captive thoughts that shouldn't be there, then things start to go down the wrong path again. So but I don't let it get there, because I always catch it. So yeah, it's something that is constant, and the more you do that, the bigger your vision becomes, and then you have to work even harder on your mindset, because now you've got something even more huge that comes with different challenges, new challenges that you've never faced before, because it's a totally different aspect of than what you've ever done. So yeah, mindset is totally, you're always working on it.
And here's what I'll say about that too. If you're up-leveling your life, you will always have to up-level your mindset. Granted, some people become very complacent and they say, oh, I've accomplished this level of success, this is good enough. If you're at the point where you're saying this is good enough, chances are you'll probably start sliding a little backwards, if not a lot backwards. But if you're up-leveling and you're always challenging yourself to do something, to be more, then you're always going to be working your mindset. That's just the way it works. And there are many universal laws at work here too. The law of attraction, the law of vibration, that really tie in to what your mindset is. So if you believe that magic can happen overnight, it can. If you believe that your body can heal itself, it can. If you believe the perfect solutions are going to be revealed to you, or that you're going to find the absolute perfect location for your second, third, or fourth, or fifth childcare program, or your next business, you can. But you've got to believe it. And the hardest thing are all of the people that I call dream busters, who are going to tell you, well, it's just not possible. Or they're going to enable you to come back to a place within yourself where you know it's not possible, because you might be like, oh, well, I'm not getting the results that I want. And they might be like, oh, well, yeah, well, it was a lofty goal and you were stretching yourself a little bit, so maybe let's try for something not so crazy. And they'll help you find comfort in your lack of growth. So always be looking for people who are going to say it's possible, and here's how you can reach, and here's how you can change that. So this is really good stuff, Mary. And I get so excited talking about mindset. And I know you do too, because you've seen the results in your own life. Oh, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit break. I see Loretta is on with us and her internet connection looks pretty clear. So we're going to take a break from my conversation with Mary. And if you've got questions, please feel free to post them in the comments. Or if you just would like to say hello, please do that as well. And remember, we're going to be raffling off some brownies before our show wraps up this evening at the top of the hour. But I'm going to bring Miss Loretta into our lobby. And Mary, I'll put you down for a second. And I'll put Loretta up. Oops, there she is. And we're just going to hear from our Chief of Happiness. And when we come back with Mary, we're going to be talking about mindset and your success mindset. This is exciting. So Loretta, how's the show going so far?
I think it's going very well. We have a few people joining us, and I've been liking comments and checking in to see. Not too many questions so far, but Holly was mentioning that she has also been in the same situation where a child has been out of sight. I've also been in that situation. I think anyone that's been in the field for a while has been there. So we know that sinking feeling that Mary went through.
Yeah, and all it takes is 1 minute for a child to get injured, or 1 minute for something devastating to happen. People have called me after the fact when there's been a death. A child was left on a school bus and they died, and they call me saying, how do we pull our team back now? How do we deal with the press? How do I stay open? So devastation can happen, and all it takes is a minute. And that's why I want you never, ever, ever to settle when it comes to what you're striving towards with your staff and with your goals. Go for the dreamiest staff that you can find. If you don't know strategies, I highly recommend that you come be part of our Total Team Transformation System, which is an entry-level program that we've launched to help you. And we'll post the link. Loretta might have it, but if not, we'll post it after the show wraps up. The Total Team Transformation System and our live coaching with that program starts tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So I'm so excited about that, because we're really looking to help as many childcare owners and directors as we can with the transforming of their team, which transforms your childcare program so, so much. So Loretta, I just want to take a couple moments with you and let our viewers know, why are you the Chief of Happiness? So we're talking about mindset. And Loretta and I were really attracted to work together. She signed up for a consult with me, a free consult. I said, hey, you know, why don't you think about working with me? And she shared that story on last week's show. But what is it about you? You've used the words nauseatingly happy to describe yourself. So where does this come from within you? Because this is not a trait that everybody has. So was it your upbringing? Was it how you conditioned your mind? What do you feel really attributes to you being the happy person that really avails you the title of our Chief of Happiness at Childcare Business Success?
That is such a wonderful question. And honestly, I believe that it is a combination of a lot of those things. I was definitely given the compliment that I was a nauseating ray of sunshine, and I took it as such. I just exude happiness. If there's a day that I'm not happy, you know something is seriously wrong. I was raised in a very happy, positive growth mindset kind of a household. But my sister is not necessarily that way, and she was raised in the same household. So some of it is personality, some of it is experience. I've learned in life that when I focus on the positive, more positive happens. It doesn't mean that I ignore the challenges or the negative things that happen. I acknowledge them. If I need to address them, I will. But I don't live there, because it's a lot more difficult to be sad or angry or resentful, as you posted on your Facebook page earlier today, than it is to be joyful and grateful and thankful. So I've taken that. It takes more muscles to frown than to smile. Very seriously. I will choose to be happy.
Yeah, you know, and Loretta's been through trying circumstances in her life too, where life just kind of threw her a blow over the head, and she was like looking for a new home, and then she was starting to do some work with us, and you know, and I have never seen her attitude shift at conferences. Well, maybe once when I asked her to dance. She's
right.
She's like, I'll sing, but do I have to dance? But she did. And if you're part of our Total Team Transformation System, you'll see a few clips in there of Loretta dancing, as well as several gentlemen on
wiggling. Let's be honest, it was more wiggling.
You know, well, you know, it's a form of dancing, so so I'm good with it. But you know, we're absolutely thrilled that you're in this group with us, and we're going to be looking for your tips and strategies too on just incorporating that happy lifestyle. And a lot of it is really, like you said, not dwelling on what just happened, but moving forward. And I think, I don't know if it was Cindy who shared it last week with everybody, but one of the magical words, and this is a word I want everybody to write down and post it really big in your office somewhere, it's the word next. Always just be saying next. I do it in my dating life. You know, it's not working out. Next, all right? Who's next on the lineup? And then you get really excited about that energy that's coming into your program. And you could do the same thing, whether it's friendships, whether it's staff members, but to be excited and to let go. Because it's one of the hardest things, especially for women, is to really let go emotionally of things that we're attached to, things or people. And if we can master the art of letting go, we're going to have a lot more freedom when it comes to the managing of our childcare program and of our lives. What do you think, Loretta?
I think you're brilliant.
Oh, I think you're brilliant as well, and just a positive source of energy for us. But I do think it's true, you know. So really think about the words next. Think about the words let go, and think about getting attached to the right things in your program, which should be your vision. And that's what Mary was talking to us about, is that you've got to be more attached to your vision than you are to your people. You've got to have more loyalty towards the vision. And that was something key that she picked up on when she was hearing me speak at the conference, where she's like, yeah, okay, that's resonating with me. So, okay. All right, cool. Anything else you want to share, Loretta, before we pull Mary back up from the lobby?
Well, just to Mary specifically, I'm loving to hear your story again. Every time I hear it, I hear new and different and exciting things. And this fall, I'm taking over as principal and teacher, so I have kind of a double duty job, and I'm coming into the school where I've been for a couple of years and been wanting to make some of these transforming changes, and I already know it's going to happen. It's the mindset we're going in with, and I'm spreading it to everyone. But I love to hear you tell that story, because it just empowers me to know, yep, this is happening. We are transforming the heck out of this school.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to do it, Loretta, too.
I am.
Yes. And, you know, and we'll be announcing our next Create Your Dream Team experience. I hope everybody can come to that. We're going to be in the New England area. Yay. So I'm hoping everybody can come out and play with us, and you'll have the opportunity to meet many of our mentorship members, as well as Loretta, right? You'll be there, Loretta. Yeah. Okay. We're planning on it anyways. I'll be there too. All right, we're going to put Loretta back in the lobby, and at the end, will you come back and let us know who's going to win some brownies?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lower you back down, and then enjoy your interaction with everybody. I'm going to bring Mary back up. This is fun. All right, welcome back, Mary.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was listening to an author by the name of Mike Dooley today, and I'm always searching for different resources on mindset. And I forgot the name of the book that I was listening to, but I've heard this before, but he said it in such a powerful way, where he was talking about too many of us worry about the how. Let me see if I can find it in my notes here. Let me see. Oh, okay. So you don't have to know how. If you can, this really struck me from his book, and this is really important. So I starred this. You don't have to know how if you can clearly see the end result. So a lot of times we hear speakers say, and I say this often, you don't have to worry about how. You have to make the decision, and then the how shows up, and you have to listen. And he said, you don't have to know the how if you can clearly see the end result. And this is the problem that I see with a lot of owners and directors who I work with, is that our vision becomes very fuzzy, kind of like mine without my glasses looking at my screen. But our vision becomes very fuzzy. So Mary, when you first came to me, would you say your vision was fuzzy?
It was definitely fuzzy. Yeah.
You couldn't see the end result, right? All you saw was what was happening. You just saw the stuff that was unfolding in front of you. You know, the lack of stars, the lack of people getting in trouble. What are people going to think? Your reputation. All that mess is what you were seeing so clearly with your eyes. But you really have to take off your glasses, and sometimes it really serves you to operate from a place of ignorance. And if you study some of our top visionaries in the world, people often looked at them like they were a little bit crazy. And I'll bring up some different examples in some future shows. But people would look at these folks like, you are so crazy, because they really couldn't see what that person was seeing, because they were seeing something in their mind that they were trying to bring to life. And if you look at people like Thomas Edison or Susan B. Anthony, all these people who did different things for our world and our society, whether it's electricity or getting women the right to vote, people are like, you're a little bit crazy. And we have to be a little bit crazy about our vision. The book's called The Power of Positive Thinking. I started looking at everything else that he wrote. These are very spiritually written books. He wrote a book called Enthusiasm Makes the Difference. And if you ever get an email from me, and if you want an email from me, shoot me an email, let me know you saw today's show, and I'll respond. But I sign everything enthusiastically, Julie Bartkus, because the word enthusiasm is such a powerful mindset shift word that it's really important to incorporate it however we can. But we think about the how, we don't see the end result. So let's talk about strategies. And Mary, you could talk about maybe some strategies that we've worked through together to where you start seeing, and this could be current things or things from 4 years ago, whichever, it doesn't matter, we can kind of hodgepodge it together. But you've got to be able to start using your imagination, like Napoleon Hill talks about in Think and Grow Rich, to start seeing really clearly the end result. You see it Oh my goodness, people are lined up at the door. Amazing staff are applying for jobs. We don't have any spots open. We have a waiting list. It's a paid waiting list. You see the end result of what you want, but you've got to get super clear on that. So what mindset strategies do we work through, Mary, or have we worked through to really help you clearly see the end result? And you could share as much or little you want around this.
Well, the first thing I'll show you is this. These are the power thoughts that I started with working with Julie. And part of getting my mind in the right frame of mind was to constantly be feeding it the right messages. And I learned really quickly to turn off everything that was negative. I started unfollowing things on Facebook that brought a negative feeling to me, whether I love people or whether I like most of what they say. If there was consistently something that would pull up in my social media that just kind of made me feel not great, made me have a negative feeling, whether I agreed with it or didn't agree with it, it could still be negative, right? So I would just start unfollowing them, and pretty soon my feed was just all positive. And my husband's sitting next to me and he's looking through Facebook getting all upset, and I'm like, I don't see anything negative, all my whole feed is positive. So I don't know what he's talking about, but I just really started doing that with everything. I noticed that if something negative was on TV, I would turn the channel. If I stopped watching shows that had, and I'm not saying they're bad shows, but for me, I wanted all positive things. So I didn't watch crime shows or, things where bad things happen to people. And so I just really started putting all positive things into my mind. And I'm a person of faith. And so for me, a lot of prayer and talking to God about the situation was a big part of it too. And then these are my power thoughts that I look through all the time, every day. And I write new ones. We started them at one of Julie's events. And they were things like, the most amazing staff lines up at my door to come join my team. Parents love our program and rave in the community about them. And just constant power thoughts like that really transformed the way I acted, the way I talked to people. And it wasn't conceited. It was from a place of, I really know where I'm going, and I know who I am on the inside, and what I see is going to happen. And, so those are the things I focused on. That was a big part of it every day, going through my power thoughts to have new things happen. And there are, outside of the amazingness that happened with my program, there are also a couple of other things that were really fun in doing this power thought thing too. And one of those was, I really wanted our little group, our owners group, to go to Hawaii. And so I kept writing that in my power thoughts, and I kept reminding Julie, this is in my power thoughts. I'm so excited that we're going to Hawaii. And wow, we ended up going to Hawaii. That was amazing. So that was one really awesome thing. And then another thing that just really surprised me, and it's not that I think that's some kind of hocus pocus stuff that happens, but I really think you have the ability to set an intention in your mind for things to happen, just by doing this, by setting the intention, you can make things happen. And so, and it's all because it's a gift that God gives you. In my opinion, that's how I look at it. So anything wonderful that's happened to me because of this has been something that I truly believe God has gifted me with in some way. So anyway, another day I was talking with Julie, and she was trying to help me get more in touch with my vision. And she said, Mary, write a song about it, because I love music. I love to sing, and my family's really musical. And so I thought, oh, write a song. She goes, write a song. So that night before bed, I wrote a power thought that was, I write a song about my vision that captures my vision. And in the middle of the night, I am not kidding you, I woke up with the song going through my head. And so I grabbed a pen and paper and I wrote it down and I sang it into my phone so I wouldn't forget it. And then I went back to sleep. And I woke up the next day and I listened to it and it was really good. So I ended up having it like recorded professionally, and it's actually available now on Amazon, which is a really cool thing, but it captures my vision so perfectly that it was just amazing. So little things like that, just write down your vision, write down your power thoughts, the things that you want to see happen that support your vision in some way. And I truly believe that you just begin responding to the thoughts that you put in your mind. And the more positive thoughts you put in your mind, the more you respond to those and how you act. And then the more others around you respond to how you're responding. And it just is this amazing snowball effect that happens. And people kept asking me, how did you get so many enrollments in 3 weeks? How did you do it? And all I can tell you is that I just had these power thoughts and kept putting them in my mind. And every phone call I took, every tour that I gave, every interaction I had with current families, every time I talked to somebody outside the program that had questions about the program, or anybody on Facebook that would ask me anything and I'd respond to them, it was all from a place of being an amazing program. And so those enrollments just came in. It was all mindset. And, I believe that just what the intention that you set and you support by everything you surround yourself with and by the thoughts you put into your mind, that's going to take you so much farther than just waiting for something to happen or following a certain set of guidelines or strategies or whatever. This is amazing stuff to really transform your mindset, is to really transform your whole business.
To transform your whole life, really. Yeah, so people might be going, okay, positive thoughts, power thoughts, what's all this about? So I just want to break it down for folks. So power thoughts is really something that I developed in our campus, our childhood program of excellence. And when I first started studying the power of positive thinking, it's really important to recognize and become, number one, aware of what are the negative thoughts that are running through your mind. So when you're sitting there, like before you wake up in the morning, which is when my thoughts come in to haunt me, or before I go to bed, what are the thoughts? What's the messages that are running through your mind? And then to become aware of those, and then to change those into positive thoughts. Now, positive thoughts are really different for everybody. Also, what triggers more negative thoughts for you is different for everybody as well. Your mom, if she says something negative, might trigger Mary, but maybe my mom comes along and says the same thing to me, it doesn't trigger me. So become very aware of what triggers you to really go down that downward spiral of negative thoughts, because one negative thought, the law of attraction, will lead to another negative thought, which attracts to you another negative thought. And then it seems like you're in the spiral where you can't escape negative thought, negative thought, negative thought, negative thought, negative thought. So what we want to do is start escalating it up towards positive, 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 positive. And then in our childhood program of excellence campus, the pad that Mary's holding up, we took Post-its and we started writing down what are the absolute best scenario thoughts you could think of that you really want to bring to life. And I challenged everybody to write those thoughts down and then read them out loud. And once we read them out loud, we read them out loud with more enthusiasm, which some people are like, this is a little crazy. But if you don't speak powerfully into what you want to have happen, you'll get weak results, because the other stuff will start to take over, and all that other stuff, the drama, negativity, gossip, not enough staff, lack, scarcity, speaks very loudly to us. We hear it loud and clear. It's very loud. So what we now have to do is get really loud and say with incredible enthusiasm and with power and with force is that I am fully enrolled, or I'm grateful and thankful that I'm fully enrolled in the next 3 weeks. And you've got to be able to repeat that over and over and over to yourself and say it until it happens. And you'll say it until you exhaust yourself, which is why most people don't get the results with their thinking, because they're one toe in, one toe out, or 1 foot over the fence, one foot on the other side of the fence. You got to get both feet in and then totally not look back. And if you're a biblical person, I always think about the story of, who was it, Mary? Was it Lot's wife who turned into the pillar of salt? Lot's wife, where it's just like they said, don't look back, or you'll turn into a pillar of salt. Well, she looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt. So the same thing happens with us, though. We can't keep looking back like, oh, well, but this is going on, and this is going on, and this is happening. So then we're not trudging forward and really embracing the change and the amazingness that is there for us. So your power thoughts are the things that you really, really, really want to have happen. And I loved it when Mary shared with me. And I can't believe we're nearing the top of the hour already. We're going to go over a little bit, just a little bit. But I remember, Mary, you sharing with me that from one Childcare Program Excellence Mentorship meeting to the next one, all the things that you wrote down in your power thoughts became true.
Yes, it was amazing. It was, I was fully enrolled. It was, I had amazing teachers. I mean, I was just flipping through when we were at our next meeting, and I was kind of overwhelmed because those things have really come to be. Those are blessings that just are there now, that just, from being so intentional in where I was going, that's where I went. And so, yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, awesome. It's so cool. Is there anything else that you feel is really important that we share with everybody who's tuning in, whether they're here live with us, and if you're here live, say hello, give us a shout out. Love to hear from you. And if you're tuning into the replay, say hello as well, or we're calling it our rerun. If you're tuning into the rerun of this, also say hello. We do come back and watch for your comments. Is there anything else that you think is critically important to share with everybody, Mary?
I just really feel like there are people that are in a devastated situation now, where they're feeling like they're overwhelmed, or they feel kind of hopeless in the situation they're in. And I just really feel like it's important for me to tell people that you are not defined by the negative situation that has happened, whether you created it, whether you tolerated it, whatever. You're not defined by that situation. You can make a new path for yourself. You can decide you're going to do things a different way and see a different outcome and work toward that outcome. For me, Julie has been a vital part of that, working one-on-one in a coaching mentorship with her. And she did not ask me to say that. So for me, that has been a very important part, because she's been able to recognize those times that I've begun to slip a little bit in my mindset. And she's really challenged me to really work on those power thoughts, really work on where I want to go. Look at the vision. Does how you're thinking and responding really coincide with where your vision is, where you want to go? So for me, it was working with her, but really just knowing that there is hope, that you already have hope, that everything you need to succeed is already here. You just need to define what that's going to be for you and start walking in that direction. Stop standing there in whatever misery you're feeling. If you're going through something like that, look to where you want to go and start walking toward that goal, and walk toward that goal as if operate like you're already there. Talk to people with the confidence that you're already there, and really envision yourself creating that situation, and then make decisions that fall in line with that. And if there's someone that isn't fitting in with your vision, don't be afraid to let them go, because when you let them go, the amazing person that you've been waiting for is going to show up for you. So that was another lesson that we didn't really talk about here tonight, but not being afraid to let go of things that weren't supported in your vision. And walking, the more you walk toward your vision in strength, the more the mediocrity just falls away and the excellence comes in. So that's what I would want people to know.
That's awesome. And that's so true. And it goes back to really looking at the end results of what you want to have happen. You know, when you think right now, if you had a magic wand and you can make anything happen in your childcare program or in your life, what would that one thing be? Too often we talk in terms of generalities. I want happy staff. I want happy parents. I want to feel like there's money. Get very, very specific about what you want and then start seeing it. Start bringing it from your mind's eye to your physical eye. And this might mean painting a picture. With Mary, it was, singing a song. And we've duplicated that effort also with some other things that Mary's working on. But how can you start seeing it with your eyes? And I always think to a little girl or a little boy playing with Barbie dolls, I use this example a lot, is that when you were a little child and you were playing with dolls, you didn't have your doll go through the scenario where they were wearing the ripped up clothes and driving the car with the flat tire and there was Barbie's car on cement blocks. It was, you're the princess living in the castle or the G.I. Joe rescuing the princess. So that's the way that we lived in our imagination way back when. Now it's time to bring your imagination back to life so that you can really start clearly seeing the end result of what you want to have happen in your life and in your childcare program. So, Mary, I think you shared some incredibly valuable information with people. So I thank you so much for being here. And I also want to let people that know that Mary's vision has expanded beyond her childcare program to where now she's created her own CDA company. And we're going to have Mary back on a future show to talk all about that development of that vision and that specifically. But let's go ahead and give that website out in case anybody wants to check it out, Mary.
Okay, yeah, that's nationalcdatraining.com, and anybody can reach out to me on Facebook too if you want more information on that.
And Mary's right in our closed group, so even right below here, you could tag her in your comments. So she's part of this community, and she's also part of our childcare program of excellence and our award winner. Yay! Like we said earlier today, I just love seeing that award over your shoulder there. And it's just been a pleasure being on the journey with you. And I want to say that you can totally go from despair to dreamy if you start seeing the end result of what you want to bring to life. And it's a journey that any of you can go on regardless of where you're at right now. So I encourage you to get involved, so take it to the next level. If you feel the calling to do so, start by our Total Team Transformation System. I believe the link is posted in the comments below. Loretta has posted it for us, and we lost Mary's picture. So I'm just going to say thank you, Mary, for being here. I'm going to put her back in the lobby, and we'll see if she rejoins us so that we could say a proper goodbye to Mary. But Mary, if you're still here, I'm just going to put you back in the lobby, and we could say goodbye at the very end. But I'm going to call Loretta back up here to join me. And let's talk about who our brownie winner is. And I don't know, how do we do? This was so much content in the show.
There was a lot of and wonderful content, and I put out earlier this afternoon I would be watching for involvement and engagement and questions, and I have to say the winner earned it today.
Awesome.
Are you ready? You have a
drum roll? So do we need a drum roll?
Here we go. The brownie winner for today is Holly Sitko.
My neighbor Holly. I can almost personally deliver those brownies to you and bake them from my kitchen to yours. and Holly and I'm going to be talking about the power of Facebook groups later on, but that's pretty much how we connected, and Holly can let you know that that's the truth. But I basically put I asked people, I'm like, hey, who would like a free copy of the book? And I think Holly was one who raised her hand and said, yes, I'm in childcare, I would love a copy of your book. And we got that mailed off to Holly, and she's been active in our group ever since then. So it's been a pleasure to have you here. Congratulations, Holly. Woo! Yes, you are going to get some of the yummiest brownies on the planet, along with a card from our Chief of Happiness, Miss Loretta. And we're thrilled that you're here. All right, any other comments or anything we need to address before we wrap up our show?
Well, I am looking forward to seeing some of these power thoughts come to life. We had a couple people who really latched onto that idea, and that's such a good way to start thinking positively. Kudos to Power of Positive Thinking. Several people have read that before.
Perfect.
And that the challenges and difficulties will help to propel them into future success and defining vision. So it's exciting to see those things happening.
Cool. Awesome. I hope you'll rewatch these shows because there's so many nuggets of gold, especially that Mary shared with you. And yes, Mary's a client. Yes, we're talking about the Childcare Program of Excellence Mentorship. Yes, we'd love you to get involved with one of our programs so we can help you take it to the next level because we know the transformational power of it. But listen and get the strategies and start putting them to work. And every single week, we're going to come back and share with you more tools, more strategies. And if you're loving the show, let us know that as well. We were thinking about doing master classes and webinars, and there's a lot of that going on, but we really wanted to bring fun format to, our group by doing the Childcare Business Success show. So I'm so excited and so thrilled that we brought this to life and that Loretta's here with us. Yay. All right. Is there anything else that we need to say in closing?
I think this is it. Next week. Don't miss next week.
Yeah, don't miss next week. So every single week, and if there are questions or topics that you would like to see covered on shows like time management, freedom, profitability, we're going to bring all those topics to life for you. And the cool thing is, as a group member, you get access to the reruns of the show. You can always scroll through the page. And one thing I'm going to ask of our community is, tell the people you like or the people that you know are struggling, tune in to the show. Come be part of our free community and share the community link with them so they can become a partner. We are implementing different referral prizes every single week, so we're always keeping our eyes open for who's referring who. So please make sure that you refer it out and let's benefit and let's really change the community. Because I believe that, a lot of times we think, hey, we're doing this to benefit the kids. We want to change the lives of the kiddos. But we have to first change our own life. And we have to change the life of the people who work, the lives of the people who work for us. And if we can do that, we're going to be impacting millions of kiddos and families worldwide. But if we skip over ourselves and we skip over our staff, we're missing a huge piece of the puzzle. And so often we get caught up in what I call crisis mode management, or you call it putting out fires. And you're stomping out those fires all the time. And you're not really taking the time for you. And you're not really investing the time in your staff to get them trained to where they can be what some owners have called
I think you always know just what to say, just how to put it into the words that mean so much.
There I am. All right. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. My Chief of Happiness, Loretta, I thank you. I love you, and I'm so thrilled you're part of my vision and that you're part of our journey on the childcare business success world. I encourage everybody, we're coming up on our year celebration for our childcare business success book becoming a bestseller on Amazon. So this is also available now on Red Leaf Press. So I encourage you to grab a copy of the book. And maybe in some future episodes, we'll have to give away some book copies as well. But we've got some great sponsors in the book as well to share with you in upcoming episodes of the Childcare Business Success Show. So thank you, Miss Loretta. Thank you, Mary Wardlaw, for sharing yourself so openly and being so vulnerable to our viewers with your journey and your story. Please know that it is going to help transform the lives of so many by you coming out and just really sharing everything that you've been through. And keep in mind that when you're looking for a coach or a mentor, think about who's been through the journey that you need to go through. There's a lot of people who are coaches who might not align with you because they haven't been through your journey, and you might feel like, I should work with them, but I really don't relate to them. And that's okay. Go where and go with who you relate to, because that person has been through the steps that you need to take to get to where you want to grow in your life personally and professionally. And success, it's not just a professional journey. It's about doing everything and getting your personal life and your professional life all what I call incredibly dreamy. And if you see Mary in the group, you could ask her about that too, but it is so true that it's got to overlap. It's not, here's how I am professionally, now here's how I'm going to be personally. It's all rolled up into one nice package that we want to be your dreamy life. And I always tell people one of my missions is to help you fall madly in love with all aspects of how you run your childcare program so that your life can indeed become dreamy. So if you're ready to get dreamy, come on, join us in the Total Team Transformation System. Shoot me a private message. Let me know you'd like a free 15 to 20-minute consult, and we'll make that happen. I'm Julie Bartkus. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you today. I'm a workplace transformationalist and best-selling author of Childcare Business Success, speaker, coach, mentor, so many different things, but we're transforming lives, and that really excites me. Loretta, anything you have to say in closing?
Have a wonderful night. We'll see you all very soon.
Yes, we will see you in our Childcare Business Success group. All right, and I'm just going to show us here, show us there. I'm Julie Bartkus, and she is
Loretta Chalk.
And we are saying bye until next week.